001, and you and Lucretia will be happy to accept that donation.
Also, local food drives. Walmart has them, when Dixie has them, Publix has them, schools host them, high schools, elementary, junior high, Salvation Army, even the fire stations are doing it as well. So if you want to pick up some canned goods or you got some canned goods that you're not using, take them by to local food drive areas, drop them off, and they donate them.
Or you can bring them here.
Yes.
We want to do a drive starting on the 11th of November.
Yes.
Because I really want us to be able to cook a meal and to serve this year. I want us to cook a meal here and to be able to serve one day throughout the year. If not, we can give away perishable items, but I just have that spirit of giving, and I just want to be a blessing to the people.
That's awesome. That's awesome to be a giver. You know, and that is a gift to be a giver.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that some other time.
Okay.
But this is the season to give. So put it in your heart to give. Even if, like you said, if it's a hug or a telephone call of encouragement, just anything, something simple like that. But this is definitely the season to give. And speaking of giving, how do you handle, I have a question for you and audience out there, how do you handle giving this year when you are in, let's say, non-speaking terms with a family member? How do you handle that?
Well, I think giving breaks the silence. And if you give a gift from your heart, and once the recipient receives it, once they feel that love, it'll break that silence.
Sure.
And I know that for certain because people always expect something. And they know if you just bought something just to say, here you go, or if you bought something out of love.
Mm-hmm.
And once that gift is given, it breaks down the barriers, and now we can communicate. And now I can say, I love you. I know I messed up. I wasn't there for you, or maybe I mistreated you, but thank you for you. Because sometimes we have to be the bigger person.
Yep, you sure do.
And that's where the decision comes in at when having a will. Back to the cremation. I'm going to bring her right back. I know she tried to steer me off, but that's my host, but I'm bringing her right back to how we handle those type of situations.
Will.
Yes.
Yeah, speaking with family. And if how you would handle a situation if the person doesn't have a will, then you have to use your own discretion and judgment. Now, if the individual has an eldest son or daughter and the spouse is not living, the spouse is not able to speak on behalf of the deceased husband or, have you, then what, either the eldest daughter or son has to call, what they think is best for the funeral arrangement with the funeral home and try to, take it accordingly. But I've seen where children are arguing, when that has come to happen, I've seen where children argue and go into strife about how the parents should be buried, where they should be buried at, or should they be cremated, instead of just putting that one person in charge. And again, you have to be the bigger person.
Yes.
And you have to just say, you know what? You go ahead and you take care of the funeral arrangement. Whatever you pick, we trust in you. You have to let it go. It's already enough that we've lost a loved one. So let's not add stress to what's going on. Okay? So, you be the bigger person. You say, you know what? You handle the funeral arrangement. We trust in you. We know you're going to do what's best. I will handle the memorial, or I will handle the dinner, or I will handle, just other things. While you're taking care of that, I'll take care of the household.
Yes.
And that's another issue. When families, if there's someone deceased, some people have to take care of the household.
Yes.
Call all the bills, all the debts, everything that's owed, let them know that they're deceased, and the proper way to handle that is you're going to get a death certificate. And once you get that death certificate, you're able to call the creditors and tell them, you know, this so-and-so is dead, and they're going to ask you to fax them, or they might have you send a certified copy. And once they do that, then hopefully that debt should be squattled.
Yes.
Now, if the debt isn't squattled, then usually the person who is either the code on the application that they put on when they filled out the application for the credit, that's who they're going to go after if they don't decide to close that account. But majority of the time, the creditors are willing enough to close the account.
And that's great. And so the topic is hot. Anyone have anything to say out in the audience? Have you had to go through anything such as receiving benefits from a person that passed, or you were left as the beneficiary? Anybody out there? No? Well, that's a good thing. But back to family. I do feel at this season that it is the greatest opportunity for us to be together.
Come together, yeah.
You have family members that haven't spoken to each other in years. You have sisters that are fighting with brothers, and mothers that are fighting with their children. Husbands and wives are fighting. And I just believe that we have to come together for the children's sake if you're a married couple. Because when we talk about family, we want to talk about marriage also. Because most people in families are not just sisters and brothers. We have marriages that are having a really, really, really hard time. And I do believe that someone has to be the bigger person in the marriage.
Right.
What that means is that maybe you will have to let your little idea that you think is so great become minute. Let it become smaller so that the marriage will work and that the whole household will benefit. Because if you're in a marriage and if your children ever have to see you quarrel, it is hard. So I just believe that even if there's a quarrel in the house, that we have to quarrel where the children are not there.
Right.
Because my husband, he doesn't quarrel anyway, but when he calls my name a certain way, when he say Angie, or if he say Angela, I know that that means that I need to be quiet. Because I think that marriage is such a great, great thing. And you can make it what you want it to be. It's up to you. You have the power and the ability to have a good marriage.
Yes, you do.
Even if the spouse is, oh my God, a very terrible person, you be a great person. And people always say, I always tell them to be the bigger person. I will, and I do continue to say that. Now, because right now, we need each other. It takes two to make it. And after that, too, then you have your extended family. So if you got a husband and a wife, you got to work at building this marriage. It takes both of you to build a marriage. If you're the only participant, it becomes hard. And not saying that I'm going to tell you to stay through all the hardness and all of that, but as long as you're not being abused, as long as he's not committing adultery, as long as he's not staying away from the house, then baby, make it work. I will be right back with you talking about family.